Welcome back. Now we're still learning about control statements, and next we'll be looking at switch statements. Now don't be surprised about the color change here. I'm just simply using the dark mode on my Windows. Alright, to switch statements. So we've looked at if statements, and I did mention that switch statements are kind of similar to if statements, just that there's a different syntax, and switch statements mostly compare values. So let's see how we can use a switch statement. So let's say, for instance, there's a store and we want maybe a customer to select a product at a time. Just let's say fruits. Okay, we're using fruits in this case, and for any fruits that is provided, we return if we return the price of that fruit. Okay, let's say this fruit is this price or something like that. Now, since it's just one fruit, it's just going to be one value, and since switch statement use values to just a single value to compare, it is perfect to use a switch statement in this case. So let's just see how that will look like in a code. I will start by having a variable fruit, and it will simply be a string variable, and we'll just pass in the name of any fruit we want to. And I'll start with apple because I like apples. Okay, so when we have apple, we want a statement. We want to use a switch statement to check for any fruit we provide. What's the price of that fruit? So this is how your switch statement should look like. So we have switch, which is just a keyword. Now in here we will provide a value, okay, and we'll have brackets, and of course close our brackets. Now so far it's looking like it's like the if statement, but here's where things get different. Now for your switch statements, what we do is we check different cases of possible values that the value we provide here can have. So we would say case, if it's a value, then we want to do something. Okay, we can check multiple cases. So let's start from one case, and let me write a proper switch statement now. So what do? In your switch statement here, you provide the actual value. Okay, so apple for instance, but since I want to make use of the variable there, I will just provide the fruit. Remember, we can also provide the value directly here, it still works, but I just want to use the variable. Remember, variables just hold the value, so this is effectively putting this value apple into this place. Okay, next we want to check our different cases. So if it is an apple, what do? So we want to check our different cases, and what are the possible cases that we can have? Well, one is if it's an apple, so case, if we have an apple string. Okay, so if we have an apple as fruit, then we want to do something. So what do we want to do? I want to document dot write line, basically print something to the screen and say apples costs let's see 215 naira. Okay, and yeah, that works. Now you can write as many lines of code as you want here for this case. Okay, but in this case I just want only one line because this is all I want to do. And when you have that line, you need to use a break statement. Break. Now the break indicates that for this case, this is where it ends. So if it's an apple, do every line of code that I have until this break. Once you see a break, just end there, and that will be the end of the switch statement. Now we can have multiple cases. So I want to add another case here. Case if it's an orange, colon, I want to write oranges costs let's say 100 naira. Okay, and of course we need to include our break statement to say that for this second case, this is where it ends. All right. Fix this here. Document. Okay. So hope you get this so far. Now let me come over this again. For your switch statement, you provide a value, and we want to compare the value and perform certain actions based on the value provided. And how do we do that? By providing different cases. So your cases can just be possible values that you want to compare against the value you provided here. In our case here, I provided the first case as an apple. So if we have apple, we just want to perform some certain actions. Again, you can have as many lines of code, but I'm just using one. So document.writeLine, in this case, I'm just in apples cost 250 naira. And when you finish writing all the logic you want for this case, you need to use the break statement. Otherwise, your code will keep executing, but we want it to end right here. Now you can have as many cases as possible. In this example, I've just added one more for oranges, and we just want to say oranges costs 100 naira, and we'll break. And really, this is just how your if statement looks like, your switch statement looks like. Of course, I can add as many more cases as needed, but for now, I think we are good. So I'll just save this and refresh. And what do we see? Apples cost 250 naira. Why is that? Because currently the value of fruit is apple. So we're checking, well, fruit is apple. So we're comparing apple. And the first check is, did the value we provide, is it the value provided, is it apple? And well, see, yes, it's apple. So we begin to execute every line of code here. And the line of code we have to execute is just to print apples cost 250 to the screen. We do that and we break. And as soon as you break, you'll exit the switch statements, and that's all. If I should change the value from apples to orange and reload, now we can see orange cost 100 because it's not equals to apple. It checks the second case, it's equals to oranges, and sure enough, it does this. Now, what if I provided grape here? If I should save and reload, now we don't see anything. Why is that? Because we don't have any case for grape or any other fruits, as a matter of fact. So, but wouldn't it be nice if probably we show a message like, here, we don't have this fruit, or this fruit doesn't exist? Yeah, so how do we handle that? Well, you can have a default case. And the default case would be called when there is a specific value provided for which we don't have any other case. If we don't provide an apple or an orange, we need to still do something or show something to our user. So I would just add a default case. And to do that, you just write default. Okay? And your colon. And what do you want to use here? We want to say document dot write line. We don't have this fruit. Okay, so it can be any message, but for now I'm just saying we don't have this fruit. So we should save that and refresh. We can see we don't have this fruit. Why? We provided grape. There's no case for grape. We only have apple, oranges, and so since we don't have any case for grape, we go to the default, and the default code is executed and run.